Aloha Cupcakes. I'm going to be checking out Easy Flow's flat enamel. If you've ever worked with any of the flattening pastes and flattening agents, you know how much fun it is to try to get a flat texture on your pinstripes. So let's see how well this goes. So out of the bottle, this is supposed to have a flat finish to it. So it's no extra ingredients involved in it, and I'm expecting this to be a little bit denser paint, and it definitely is. Like this fresh out of the bottle is not my favorite, so we're gonna have to reduce this quite a bit. Now, normally when you're working with any of the enamels where you have to add any form of flattening paste in it, you're gonna have to reduce it quite a bit, and your dry time is gonna be way, way faster. And it looks like this is not an exception to that. So I'm reducing almost 3 times as much as I would normally reduce any paint ever. And I am mixing this in a cup. I'm not even bothering to try to palette this out. I knew working with the Easy Flow paint, like the cup is definitely your best friend for this. But I did have to reduce this. I'm going to say like almost a quarter to like a 1-to-4 ratio kind of thing. Like there was a lot more reducer. And even this, as reduced down as it is, I'm not pulling the cleanest of straight lines by any means. So I could stand to probably go, let's reduce it down a little bit more. So even reduced further than that, like I almost want to go 50-50 with this. Like yeah, no, that didn't even work with this one. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to keep reducing it until I get it to work right. It might not be exactly 50-50 at this point because this enamel or this reducer very much has a lacquer thinner smell to it, and I can tell that it's evaporating almost as quickly as I'm using it. So, like right there, it's like kind of gunky. So my first impressions are not very high with this. Like I cannot get this to work right. Okay, so I've got it close to a 50-50 mix, and I remixed it in a cup, and I just clipped that out so you don't actually see me doing it. But an actual 50-50 mix, I'm able to pull some fairly consistent lines. It's still got a super rapid dry time, so I'm having to palette in between every brush stroke, and it seems like it's drying on me almost as quickly as I'm painting. So it is a very rapid dry time for sure. And you could see it while I'm painting, like the gloss is disappearing. So I don't know that it doesn't show through on the camera very well, but I can see it while I'm working that as I paint a stripe, by the time I'm done with the next one, the gloss has disappeared almost completely from the other line. I don't know if that's completely dry or not, but I'm physically witnessing it happen, which kind of makes it a little bit less. I guess it's well, one, it's satisfying to watch, but at least I know that it's going to have a flat finish to it. So even if it's not completely dry, at least I know it's not going to be glossy on me. Because it's kind of a hit or miss when you're working with some of the other things that you use to make the paint flat. So, but yeah, this was definitely a heavy, heavy reduction before it was going to flow right. And just for reference, I am using a MAC blue. Oh, yeah, dry. Not even a, okay, it's dry. I'm using a black MAC blue wrap for this, but yeah, it is. I wouldn't say it's totally cured, but it is definitely not tacky, which is kind of awesome because I'm looking at this like you're looking at a time lapse. When I'm looking at the playback on this, we're at 20 minutes right now. So for the lines that I started 20 minutes ago to be completely dry to the touch, that's kind of impressive. I'm definitely a big fan of it. It seems to be that definitely has its practicality, and it's consistent with their Easy Flows other enamels as well. Now I'm going to try out the flat yellow here. Just pouring it in the cup, I can already tell this one is a lot more fluid than the green was. And just pulling these first few lines without adding any reducer to it, it's flowing a whole lot better than the green did. So there's a possibility that the chemicals weren't mixed up quite as well in the green one as they were with this one, and maybe I just need to shake it longer. Maybe I need to be more patient with myself, but it could also just be a very dense paint, and the other one just needed a lot of extra reduction. I did end up adding a few drops of reducer to this just because I noticed in that first set I was starting to get a little bit of crunchiness coming on towards the ends of it. But a few drops of reducer, not large volumes of reducer. And it's pulling just like any other lines. Now this one is not drying quite as quickly as the green. Like I'm not seeing every line to be drying itself as I am working. But as long as it starts to cure to a point where I can see that it's going to be flat, I think I'm all right. Now, by the time I'm doing these two just dips with the brush, I am starting to have to add more reducer to it, even though it's in the cup. And then by the time I'm pulling these two lines, I can already start to see that it is drying. So these first couple of lines that I started with are already flat. So a little bit longer dry time, but having better workable time, I think that's a benefit for sure. Now I did it off camera, but I did this also with the red color, and it seemed to have the same viscosity as this yellow. So I think it was just the green that needs a little bit more extra effort. I could be wrong. I'll try the rest of the colors eventually. So all in all, not the greatest experience working with this paint in comparison to regular enamels. However, trying to mix up flattening paste with your paint to get that flat texture versus just having paint coming straight out of the bottle definitely has a benefit to it. I'm going to say that if this is something you need to be able to do, this might be a better option than trying to mix your chemicals and hope that it works. Because this is at least consistent. So, I don't know. I'll let you guys tell me how you feel about it. Till my next video, stay moist, my friends.